You know the Spider-Man meme when they're pointing at each other?
Yeah.
This is the vibe I'm getting from the Sharks and Knights. Sharks and Knights are going to point at each other and go, who's going to fuck up first? Yeah. They're going to have a really good game plan. I think they're really going to play within themselves.
Who fucks up
not
first?
Not lose up. So, I don't know.
Sports Nation, welcome back to the Body Science Content Studio. As always, joined by my right-hand man, Skipper Scope. What's up, baby? Wakefield legend, Manly legend, punter extraordinaire, leader of the D-Gens. You like that intro?
I don't know about starting with Wakey. You start Wakey at the end. Got a lot of respect for Wakey, but Wakey at the end.
All right, before we get into this podcast, this is brought to you by Steady Freddy, the new podcast sponsor of the show. Their little saying is spray on, play on. Their amazing delay spray is a doctor-created premature ejaculation solution without pills or toxins. It's easy to apply and created specifically for those who want to be convenient, non-intrusive way to last longer for a better fucking world.
I need me a bit of that, baby.
I need me a bit of that as well. So jump
and I'm
on.
due too.
15% off code YKTR15 for a better fucking world. Use that code again, YKTR15 to get 15% off. They've also got some clean wipes as well. Go out to the club, come home, don't want to jump in the shower, you can just wipe it down.
Yeah, that's me to a T. Nice and lazy. Yeah, the fucking Steady Freddy. Let's do it, baby.
All right, guys, before we get into this podcast and break down a preview and review show from last week and rolling into this week, Skipper Scopes sits down for an interview of Dylan Brown. Here's the interview.
Okay, welcome back to the YKTR Sports Show. We get all the fucking biggest stars on the YKTR Sports Show. We had Nathan Cleary. There's no bigger star from last week's games than Dylan Brown. We're related. He's my nephew, Dylan Brown. Thanks for joining us, baby.
Thanks for having me, Unks. All good, bro. 2
from 3 to start the year. Obviously, the Cronulla game, they got you right on the hooter, but a really good start. You knocked off Melbourne. You must be happy, obviously, with your personal form. You were unreal on the weekend. You're happy with the team's form as well.
Yeah, bro. Like you said, 2 from 3. Should have been 3 from 3, but, the Sharks did put on a pretty good performance. Felt like a few of the first few games we've been playing, we're beating ourselves in lots of moments. Just like Melbourne, for example. We watched the video and we were surprised you ended up getting that win, man. There were so many opportunities where we could have, banged it on the head before it got to the golden point. And bro, we could have avoided that bloody injury of Stoney. So
yeah, that's
that sucks. That sucks a lot. But happy to get the win down there, bro, because you know how hard it is. So.
Yeah, for sure. And we'll get to that. We'll get to the Melbourne Storm a little bit more. But just personally on your own form, started unreal. It looks like, I don't know, from an outsider looking in, looks like you're trying to get your hands on the ball a little bit more this year, trying to be pretty dominant on that left edge. You put on a couple of nice fucking TAs straight away. That one against putting Guffo through was elite. You must be really happy with your form in the first 3 rounds.
Yeah, bro, getting a bit more confident, as we play. Bro, the game's getting faster and faster. So, it's up to us as halves and a spine to, adapt to that and take opportunities when we can. But yeah, bro, it was a good game, but there's still so much, you can work on. Everyone sees the highlights and that, but there's heaps of little things that, I'm going to continue to work on because still got, still going to video with Brad and he's still never happy. So, we'll continue on to next week, bro. You got the Dragons, so. Any team can win at the moment, It's showing.
Well, you talked about the Sharks. Really good form line on the Sharks. It's not like the Sharks, the scrubs this year, beat you guys, come out and won convincingly against the Dragons on the weekend. So it's a pretty good form line. You beat like we said, you beat the Melbourne Storm. That's 3 from 3 in the last 3 games. You mentioned BA there before. He's come out of the bellyache coaching tree. Do you think that's an advantage for you guys, BA, knowing sort of the system, or do you have a mindset getting ready for the Melbourne Storm because they're the pinnacle, or will they've been one of the top teams for so long?
Yeah, it's a weird little trend, eh? We've managed to get them a few times now. So, it's obviously no matter what, if a team's got a system and you still got to defend it. You know what I mean? It's always going to be hard. You're going to have to just rock up on the day and deal with whatever comes. But I honestly couldn't pin that on the head, bro. I don't know what it is, but we seem to have a good go against Melbourne every time.
Yeah, for sure. And one of the guys that had a fucking real crack, he's a bit of an unsung hero for you the last couple of years. Ray Stone comes up, 2 meaties, the game winner, bittersweet though. He does his ACL. He's off to the Titans next year. It must have been a bittersweet moment for all you boys in the sheds after. because you could see straight away, any of us guys that's played footy, I said straight away, I went, fuck, I think he's done his ACL. How was he after the game? What does he mean to the team? And then who's going to fill that void for this year?
Bro, Stoney, anyone that knows Stoney is a pretty easygoing man, bro. He loves his footy. He loves a good beer after footy. So he's
one of us.
He's one yeah. He's one of those like 1% players. Like he comes on, he's not a superstar, but fuck, he does his job, and everyone knows he can defend. He can hit hard for a little fella. Well, not little, but you know what I mean in comparison.
Yep.
But just showing, like, if you watch that video back, he was the only player that was on side.
Yeah, bro.
And like that's just that little thing, and that's why he's always stuck around this club, and obviously he's going to be going to the Dolphins later. I don't know if he's chasing the cash or. Sorry,
bro. I said Titans, but it's Dolphins. My bad.
Nah, you're right. Yeah, you're going to the Dolphins. I don't know if he's chasing the cash there or what, but
he deserves it. He deserves some cash.
Yeah, bro. Good luck to him, bro. But yeah, no, we all love Stoney, and he's not someone that kicks stones. He'll make a positive out of this.
Well,
situation.
that's what BA said after the game. I seen him interviewed. I think it was him and Gutho, him and Mitchie, and he said like he's the type of guy. He's not always in the team. Sometimes he's been left out, and he never sulks. He's that type of guy. So I feel like Redcliffe are really getting themselves a player up there. Just to finish off, bro, we'll let you go nice and quick. We know you love your creative side. You've got We the North, the brand. You've been deviling at that over the last couple of years. Made a beanbag on the weekend. That looks. How did that come out? You happy with that? So you've obviously got a creative side in you. What's coming up next for Dill Brown away from footy?
Well, my name is Dillbag, so I might start seeing a few more bags, beanbags, backpacks.
Yeah,
bro. No, it's actually funny.
Works.
It was just funny, like. Yeah, it does, bro. Who knows, man? Hopefully no one steals it. Hopefully you fellas don't steal that idea before I start.
Yeah. Ice is the best at copyright and stuff like that.
Yep, beauty. But nah, bro, yeah, I'm a bit of a weirdo, bro. I just make random shit. Like, I seen this massive beanbag and it was like $800. I was like, fuck that. I'm going to make my own and make it better. So we managed to do so. Me and mum taught me how to use the sewing machine and
awesome.
Just went away at it.
All the boys, you live with a couple of boys. They've been perching up on the beanbag nice and early.
Nah, bro, I don't fucking touch the beanbag, bro.
That's your one only? You're the only one?
Don't touch the beanbag, man. They had a little geese, but a few of them it's probably too heavy to sit on it. But.
All right. All the best for this week against Dragons. Thanks for coming on, brother, and good luck for the rest of the year.
My man, cuz.
Cheers, Dill. Thanks, brother.
Bro. Thanks, cuz.
Great interview by Skipper Scope there. Now we're going to break down a few of the topics hanging around the NRL this week. Three of the best. Number one, Night Star, Mitch Barnett breaks the silence over the stray elbow. What were your thoughts on that?
Yeah, so straight away, I like Mitchie Barnett.
I like Mitchie Barnett too.
You know I love Mitchie Barnett. So there might sound like there's a little bit of bias with my take on it.
We are biased.
I had a similar incident happen to me against Wado one game when we played Cronulla, right? So we were defending the line, same sort of thing. Wado was the lead runner and he'd gone through the line and I was playing middle at the time. So as you know, when you play middle, I was out in my feet. And I was just like that fatigued, but I was trying to cover in behind the line and Wado had run through. Very similar. Man, I collected Wado and I was just like...
Elbow.
I ran into him, but because I seen him last minute and I was so gassed, I just seen him last minute, bang, and bumped him out of the way. Wado. So Wado's got up and sprayed me and I went to him, fuck, sorry, bro, I didn't I was just so gassed. But because I picked him up late, as I was sweeping in behind, I could see the shape unfolding. So I could see that we were about to get stripped and I was trying to get to the corner as quickly as possible. Wado just ran in my zone, and instead of going, I lifted like Mitchie raised his elbow, I just went fucking bang and knocked Wado out of the way because I was trying to get to it and make the effort.
You sound guilty to me, Scope. This is all I'm hearing.
Yeah, well, so exactly in Wado's eyes, I was guilty, but I apologise. But I fucking wanted to make the play. The big thing is that obviously the difference is he's gone a little bit high, but I believe Mitchie when he says this, I believe he was about the same mindset. He's probably gone too hard, but I just think it was just like a natural reaction. Like it was like a reflex. I don't think it was dirty for me. And I don't know where you stand on it, but for me, it wasn't a dirty play. He deserves to get suspended for it.
He's got 6 weeks.
He deserves that. No, don't get me wrong when I say that. He raised the elbow, collected him in the head. Which is Chris Smith?
Yeah, Chrissy Smith.
Chrissy Smith didn't finish the game. I'm not saying he doesn't deserve the punishment, but I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt based on a similar situation that I was in myself, and say that I could sort of see, what happened in that situation.
He had a quote here saying, "There's a difference between being deliberate and being careless, and I accept the punishment for my carelessness."
Perfect.
But there is no way I went out there to deliberately assault someone.
Yeah.
And Mitchy Barnett's that guy within your team, within Newcastle, that you sort of look on for like a bit of, say, grubbiness. I think he sort of falls into that sort of category, and he's someone that I look at if I was playing the Knights, I'll be watching out for him. He's just kind of gone a little bit too far this time.
He's improved so much in that area too, man. So he's taken. I remember
he's just got 6 weeks.
Yeah, I know, but you know what I'm saying with it though. It's like back in the day. So another story. I played Mitchy Barnett early in his days at Canberra, and we got into each other a little bit. He was getting into to Jamie Lyon at the time. So I was like...
He's after Jamie Lyon, was he?
Yeah, I know. He's after one of the big dogs. And I don't even know if Mitchy remembers this, but I started getting into Mitchy and we had a bit of a tussle. And I know, like, over the years, in particular, like, that's why I love him, because he's so aggressive. When I come out of that game, we shook each other's hands. It was all good after the game. But, like, I watched him from afar and always appreciated his game. I think he's done a good job of it. So it's disappointing to see that this has happened now, because I felt like... He's been fucking unreal for them to start the year. When he was coming off the bench, in particular in the middle, he was adding a bit of cunt to their game, which is like, it was so much more controlled. His carries were really good. They're going to miss him.
100%.
And I'm going to miss him watching Newcastle, because I enjoyed the style of footy that they were playing. They're playing aggressive. They're playing, and it cost them the game. It cost them the game because they were right in that game, man. Newcastle could come to play. Penrith were a little bit off, which we'll get to, I'm sure, on the preview and breakdown of the game. But that's the most disappointing thing, because I think Mitchy was taking steps in improving that side of his game and realising how important he is to that team.
Yeah, the old saying, the lipper can't change its spots, eh? Sometimes when you're under the pump, bro, and you're rolling through, you just got to whack someone with an elbow. Much like you, I've hit someone with an elbow for, Daniel Mortimer.
Yeah.
I actually knocked him out too. We were playing 20s, he put a grubber through. And same thing, but I actually meant mine. I got 2 weeks, so shout out Daniel Mortimer.
Why? What do you mean? Why'd you do Morty like that?
Because they're winning.
He's the nicest guy ever.
I know. But like we played Parramatta, and they're obviously stacked side, and we always heard about the Parramatta sides coming through, so they come over and played us round 2. They were winning, and he tried to put a grubber through, and it just
very grubby.
Yeah, very grubby. The boy from Toke. The Prez Cam Munster reportedly asked to take a pay cut at Melbourne. Obviously, I know you got a personal friendship with him.
Yeah.
But from a professional podcasting standpoint, where do you sit on this?
In what way do you think? Do I think?
So you're Cam Munster right now, best 5'8" in the comp.
Yeah.
Been at Melbourne forever, gone through a little bit of trouble. Melbourne have stood by you. You're rolling into a new contract. They've asked you to take a pay cut. You obviously know there's someone like a Redcliffe there. What would you be doing if you were Cam Smith? And these are your opinions only.
Yeah, no, I'd be doing what he's doing right now, playing his best possible footy. I had a chat to him. I'll tell you right now. I had a chat to him on Monday. We just caught up. We hadn't spoken a long time. The one thing I took out of the conversation, he's in such a good place at the moment. He's really happy. His family life is really good at home. And he's just concentrating this year in particular and just playing really good footy for the Melbourne Storm.
Too.
And he's fucking killing it. Him and Dill Brown, we had a chat to Dill, Cam Munster. They were fucking unreal for Melbourne Storm on the weekend. And when I'm looking at that situation, Prez just has to do what he's doing right now. If he keeps playing good footy, whatever the offer is at the moment from Melbourne, it's still early. The pressure of he's still, I believe. So he's still contracted for next year, right?
Not too sure.
Okay, so I believe he's still contracted for next year. So the negotiations will open up as it goes on. Prez has got to keep playing good footies like he's doing. He's off the piss. I spoke to him. He's still been off the piss. As there goes my pen. His family life's really good. He's been so having his boy Jackson is just. I felt like me and Prez are in the same flow at the moment.
Yep.
Took me a little bit longer to mature, more than what it did with Prez, but really steady with my own relationship. I think having his son Jackson is really giving him a perspective. He's been off the piss. He's focused on his footy, and I think he just does that throughout the year. Maybe that contract, as it stands right now, maybe it's a little bit more, then the pressures potentially of another team. Obviously, Redcliffe is the big one, comes in later in the year, and that puts a little bit more pressure on the offer.
It's a great space to be in. Obviously, when you're one of the great players, you don't really have to worry about contracts. Probably a position that we were never really in. Skip escape. But obviously, that Redcliffe card is always still there for him as well. So not much pressure on him whatsoever. If you look at the context of it, he's going to be great wherever he sort of rocks up. If he stays down at Melbourne, becomes a one club player. If he rocks up to Redcliffe and becomes their franchise player up there, I think he's going to be great either way. So shout out to the Prez. Keep doing your thing.
Just from a Melbourne perspective as well, obviously they've lost a lot of experience over the last couple of years. Obviously, Cheese goes down as well. He's going to the Roosters. He's sort of like a youngish, middle-aged player for him, but a lot of experience. I think it's important to make sure that they hang on to Munster and Harry and Jerome Hughes and all those sorts of players.
If you're playing those types of cards when you're an organisation, I think you've always got a backup plan. And do you know who think? And I've always thought this: if Cameron Munster leaves Melbourne, I reckon they go back and get Scotty Drinkwater and roll him into 5'8". And he's been in that Melbourne system before, been through the preseason, done all that sort of shit. I think he'd fit straight back in there.
That's the first person you've taken out of a team and not put in Redcliffe. So that's a fucking one of your better takes.
Man, it feels like Redcliffe's giving me little things under the table here. Last one, another week, another pile of pressure dumped onto Madge and the West Tigers. Cronk criticises Luke Brooks' games management. Is this his Madge last year?
Yeah, it has to be.
Do they get the wooden spoon?
Fuck, man, that was a tough watch. I don't know if you sat through that Warriors-Tigers game. They started the game really well too. What was the question? Sorry, you just asked me.
Do they get the spoon?
Fuck yeah, they're looking good for it. So it's them, Bulldogs. Who else is at the back? Because teams that I thought were going to be down the bottom, fucking Knights and Cowboys, they're up the top at the moment. West Tigers, Seagulls.
Here's the next 5 games: Titans away, Sharks away, Eels, Souths, Dragons. Titans. Sharks are going to punt from the Sharks, punt from the Eels, punt from Souths. I think he's gone by round 10.
On that form line against the Warriors, that was like, and this is respectfully to all the boys that competed, and that was one of the lowest games I've watched in a while. I wrote here in my notes, and I wrote down in notes as I was watching the game. Someone's going to lose this game. The other team's not going to win it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's a spot-on statement.
If you know what I mean. But I was watching that game going, both teams wanted to lose it in the last 20 minutes. And for me, that's an indication of poor coaching from both teams, or just not being able to get the right messages down on the field. In particular, when Marcelo Montoya gets sent for 10 in the last with 12 minutes to go and they're down by a try and they just haven't show that composure. Cooper Cronk's critical of Luke Brooks. Yeah, he plays a part in it as well. I've been a guy that I think he's been unfairly judged in the past, but in particular, if I'm standing this game out, I was watching that game and Brooksy needed to be better. He had a couple of really rushed decisions, especially coming out in yardage when they could have built some pressure with the Warriors only having 12 men on the field. I think Brooksy and Maguire, they need to change. I don't think it's the end of their careers for either of them. I just think they just need to get out of the Tiger situation for me.
All right, let's roll into the games this week. We got the Titans taking on the Tigers. What are your thoughts on the Titans last week? Obviously, got it raced out to a 22-point lead, got pulled back with the Raiders. What are your thoughts on the Titans?
Yeah, Titans, obviously the start was really good, but they need to find something. I think they need to balance out their bench a little bit more. I know Jared, we love Jared Wallace. He's been sitting there in the 19 jersey for the last couple of weeks. I love Fodawaker and Tino, and when those two boys start, they've got so much go for it, and they were rolling through the Raiders. But when Fodawaker and both Tino went off together, there's an imbalance there. I'd love to see a guy like Jared Wallace brought back into the team, whether he comes on and starts and just takes that initial hit, because Fodawaker is unreal coming off the bench.
He's a gun, bro.
I just think and this is not a knock on Fodawaker. In perfect example or a perfect situation, Fodawaker's a starter. But for the balance of this team, I think it was clear to see that when Emre Gula and Horsburgh come off.
Horsburgh's tough, bro.
Horsburgh in
He's
particular,
tough.
when he come off, I love Corey Horsburgh. But when he's another guy, when he can run in a little bit and just get rid of the odd error, he's really good for the Raiders. But I thought in particular their bench come on and obviously brought him back in the game. It's an obvious statement because
and the Titans just don't have that one to counter him.
Yeah, and then once they lost momentum, they just struggled to bring it back, and that flows back also to. Go back to be critical of the halves, like being able to fight their way out of it. They're inexperienced halves, so that's early, right? These are some early lessons. But like when I'm looking forward to the Tigers game, I've written down Titans just gonna have to pull it back a little bit. Like,
what do you mean by that?
They play really good enterprising footy, and they can throw it around. And Brimo seen it firsthand when Bellarmine got him a beauty right at the end of that game. They're always willing to chance their arm, and they've got the power. Man, when they flow off the back of that power and just play nice and direct with their forward pack, that's when they're the most dangerous. And the young halves, they've just got to learn that. They've just got to learn to get on the back of the big boys. They've got a big, strong, powerful pack, and that's going to be plenty to get through the Tigers if they can play within themselves, because you don't have to play a 10 out of 10 to beat the Tigers at the moment.
One of the worst feelings in football is when you can feel a team coming back, Yeah. You feel like if there's 10 minutes to go, that 10 minutes feels like 20. But if you're chasing points, that 10 minute feels like 5 minutes.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's hard. And like Tino's young, bro. Tino's 23, 22, 23, 24. He's your captain. He's been in these experiences before. But like sometimes experience comes behind the goalpost and knowing the right things to say and what does our next set look like visually, how does it look, and then where does the ball end up during the kick. And like you said, the youth is great when things are going well and it's all fun and you're slinging the ball around, but when you get in those little tough moments and you see guys like Jack Wyden and Jordan Rapana coming out with big plays, those guys that have been around here for a minute, they get it done, don't they?
I was so impressed with the Raiders players, as we'll get to them a little bit later on, like the Jack White and Tom Starling's proven that he's going to be able to fill
easily.
Josh Hodgson's spot. I know he come off the bench, but when he did, he was unreal.
Tigers.
Tigers. Tigers started the game all right. 5 from 5, leads to a try. Jimmy Tamo goes over for a red fucking meaty. But as soon as something goes wrong for this team, it's just like, it's very hard to come. I hate to sound, I'm sure, everyone's piling onto the Tigers like they deserve to be.
All right, let's flip it up right now, Scope. Everyone's going to be bagging the Tigers right now. How do they get better? What's a positive? What do you see?
That's a tough question.
So you can't see anything that's you can shine light on straight away?
Some of the forwards, like the performances from some of their forwards, like they were banged up. I know a lot of the boys looked like they were banged up. Luciano, how tough he looked like he was fucking carrying an injury the whole time. Noffa always gives you a fucking great performance. He's always a handful. He's coming out of yardage. But like when I think about the Tigers, I don't think about like when I look at some sort of parts of some teams' games, it's like I can see an edge that are working together, or a halves combination, or like a bench that come on and have an impact like the Raiders. It's just like individual efforts at times for the Tigers that really stands out. And then for me, that can be a negative as well, because when you see someone playing so well, like Nofaluma, when it's so visible that he's having a crack, it makes others look fucking bad, because it really highlights how much fucking better Noffa's playing, or Luciano's playing with injury. I thought, there are players that chip in. The roster's not there. That's why we probably didn't have the Tigers doing anything this year. We both had them in our bottom 4. The roster's not there. The roster's going to get better next year, but it's going to be a tough season.
Yeah, agree.
All right, and this is going to be a tough game, I think.
All right, rolling into this game, Titans versus Tigers. You think it's going to be a tough watch? It might be entertaining, but predictions?
Yeah, it could be. It could be entertaining. Just depends on what the Titans want to toss up. Whether they want to get in a back and forth score fest with the Tigers, or they can do potentially what the Cowboys did to the Broncos. High entertaining game, played within themselves, and then eventually blow the Tigers out in the end.
I like that. So yeah, Titans up, I reckon. I'm following you there as well. Second game of the round, Sharks versus Knights. Sharks, what a performance last week. Rolled down to Wollongong in the pissing down rain and fucking smacked their local rivals. So thoughts on the Sharkies?
Yeah, so I'm a bit off myself. So as you know, the week before when the Sharks played the Eels, I was out on the piss. We had the scopes punters things, and I sort of went back and watched the game through KO Mini. And when you miss games and you don't watch them properly, you watch them all the way through, which I've done this year on all the games except for that Saturday afternoon when I was on the piss. you don't get a feel like, for me, I love. And one thing that's been evident in some teams this year is the coaching and clear game plans and structures that I missed when I didn't watch that game back fully with the Sharks and the Eels. And when you were watching the Sharks and I was watching the Dragons game, it's clear to see that there's buy-in from the Sharks, defensively and in attack. The attack's obvious for everyone, but when you watch the Sharks, when they played the Dragons, they obviously had a clear game plan. And the thing that stood out for me is the Dragons, again, is I'm still not giving up on the Dragons, but Dragons were trying to do things individually, whereas with the Sharks were doing stuff collectively. And one of the biggest things for me was the kick chase. So when they were kicking in the corners, both teams were kicking all right, but the Sharks used it, really used it to their advantage. And then once they got Tyrone Sloan or Cody Ramsey, which are smaller guys, and you think, as a back row, sometimes when you see these smaller guys, you're like, this is an opportunity to fucking get a good shot on here, fucking looks grouse, pump the boys up. But they come as a team, they got in 2 or 3 in a tackle, and they just fucking were driving them back, and really, like, we call it, back in when we used to play, we used to call it a slow death. So what you do is when you get some of these smaller guys, you hold them up together, and then obviously there are some guys that come in and get the legs, but if they don't, what you don't want to do is you really want to take them down nice and slow, keep them on the ground, and then really control that tackle. And then you're able to amp up on a guy like Ravalawa, who's
a tough tackle,
carries the ball really well, but once you've got a set line, you can get another 2 or 3 in there. And then you listen to the interviews. I caught Moises with Joey after the game, and it was similar to what we'd talked to him about. There's a lot of buy-in with everything that they're doing in their game, and really impressed by the Sharks. I was thinking, I was a bit down on myself because I picked the Dragons on PB and Jam, and I was off myself because I was like, fuck, I probably still would have picked the Dragons. Don't get me wrong on that. I would have picked the Dragons in the game, but there's no way I would have made it my best bet to go the Dragons against the Sharks based on what I've seen from the Sharks.
Yeah, I thought the Sharks were wonderful. I think obviously their attack in that type of weather shows the type of skills that they have within the team. I thought Talakai was
unreal.
Unreal. So he's probably at that point now where, like, he's always kind of like, if you're playing him, you sort of know he's a tough tackle, but I think people are starting to really recognize him, and I think he's getting a bit of confidence in himself as well, and there's been a few players this round, and we'll get to him as well. Knights' performance, I thought they were great.
I'm really impressed by the Knights.
12 down to 12. Mitchy Barnett goes off, going up against the defending premiers down there. They're still stacked. Penrith still top of the table. I thought Tex Hoy stood out.
Tex Hoy, unreal. Gags, again, unreal. I put a line through him once Mitchie went off because I thought, I'm watching that game and I was like, the fucking Knights can... I had a feeling the Knights were going to beat them. Now we'll never know. But to do what they did against the premiership winners the year before, it's still fucking a really good Penrith Panthers team. Even with a few outs, it's still a really good Penrith Panthers team. Really impressive from the Knights. They're not going to lose a game. You know how we talked about the Tigers when I talk about you just got to hang in there. And like the Knights did the week before against the Tigers, the Knights aren't going to lose a game. You've got to beat them. And that's the most impressive part about the Knights for me.
I think Adam O'Brien will be pumped. You're never happy losing games, but sometimes when you look at a loss, you're like, yeah, like we had it stacked up against us and we still rocked up and turned up. So shout out to the Knights. Great performance by you guys. This game, I think, is going to be a really great game for a 6 o'clocker on a Friday. Sharks v Knights. Where you going, Scope?
You know the Spider-Man meme when they're pointing at each other? Yeah. This is the vibe I'm getting from the Sharks and Knights. Sharks and Knights are going to point at each other and go, who's going to fuck up first? They're going to play to it. They're going to have a really good game plan. I think they're really going to play within themselves.
Who fucks up
not
first?
Not lose up. So, I don't know. Sharks at home, probably leaning towards the Sharks, but been very impressed by the Knights, and I wouldn't be surprised again if this one goes down to the wire right at the death.
Oh, sorry, to wind back to the Titans, big news coming out. Asako replaces Campbell.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Agree? Disagree? Where you at?
No, has he been dropped? I think Jaden Campbell's been injured. Lukey, can you just find out for sure if I think...
I don't know. We'll come back to that. We'll keep rolling through.
We'll double down.
Panthers v Salves, probably going to be the game of the round. Panthers performance last week. Obviously, the inclusion of Nathan Cleary is huge. They're already sitting at the top of the table. Panthers were awesome last week, weren't they? I love their left edge.
Yeah, the couple of Isaac Tago and Taylor May. Love Taylor May already. Same again, talking about the Penrith nursery. We love it. Panthers have a presence about them now, right? So as good as the performance was for Newcastle, and even the week before, I thought the Dragons really stuck it to them.
Yeah, they're still winning games.
They're still winning games, and what they're doing is they're making teams or opposition players sort of lose their shit. like the Mitchy Barnett incident, like the game's in the balance, but players and teams are feeling like they've just got to do a little bit extra to beat them.
Yeah, that's a good point.
And they're just like and they can play at a 7 out of 10 at the moment. They've been playing within themselves as well. They've been waiting for, obviously, Nath will be a fucking massive inclusion. I'm excited for this game because I was impressed by Souths as well.
Yeah. So what do you think of Souths coming through last week?
Yeah.
They needed to win, didn't they?
Well, hey, getting at those edges, the scope caught it nice and early. Hey, and this is, I thought they had obviously when they like to attack to their left. I like the fact that obviously it worked against the Melbourne Storm. I think
just couldn't pull it off at the time.
Yeah, and they're a little bit short, but for me, that's Melbourne Storm's weakness. I'd be attacking their right edge. The beauty about it is that they didn't lock into it, even though I wanted them to. I love the fact that they got at Sam Walker and Tupanora on that edge because that's where the value was. Cam Murray, that was a fucking 11 out of 10 from Cam Murray. Shout out to Cam Murray. We talked. I writ down.
We didn't bag him, but I writ down. Fuck.
That's why you start Cam Murray. Yeah. That's what, 1 try, 2 fucking try assists. He's your captain. He's your leader. He doesn't need to sit on the bench and worry about getting out of the juice of the first 10 minutes.
Throw him in.
Oh, he was unbelievable. Jai Arrow's been unbelievable.
Cody Walker's there at the right time.
Trail's feeling himself after a couple of weeks.
Charmette, that's his new nickname now.
This is going to be a good game, man. Friday night footy, you fucking love it.
Yeah, I love the Souths game as well. Obviously, going up against the Roosters, I was kind of out on the piss as well, so I was kind of just flicking back and forth. But I watched the highlights. They look like the Souths of old. And
yeah.
Obviously, when Cody Walker's getting over the try lines and Charmette's getting over the try line, that's when they're starting to hum. And Cam Murray is fucking unbelievable. Obviously, he copped, I wouldn't say criticism, but he answered any doubt that we had that he's one of our premier number 13s.
Yeah.
We've been very Isaiah Yeo, which he deserves, but can Isaiah Yeo do that?
Against
Roosters?
Against the Rabbitohs?
No, can the performance that Cam Murray put in, I know they're kind of a little bit different, but could Isaiah Yeo do that type of performance? It looks a little bit different, doesn't it?
No, he's capable of it. It's going to come in a different way, like you said, but it's their 1A, 1B at the moment. And like I said, you see, we talked about it. Victor Radley, Jake Travojevic. When you see Jason Tomalolo playing like the way he is at the moment, we fucking don't poke the bear, baby. You poke the bear.
JT poked the bear as well. All right, Scopes, predictions.
As much as I've been high on the Rabbitohs, I think Panthers have been saving themselves for this
game.
Yeah. I think
smack them or what?
No way. No, I can't see a big score in it, but I can see a Nathan Cleary clinic in this kicking game, comes back, shows why he's the best player in the game, and they do all the right things to get the job done against the Rabbitohs.
You look at someone like Nathan Cleary compared to, say, our Tommy Turbo, and where they probably sit 1A, 1B right now in the game's best players. But I think Nathan Cleary's game is a little bit more controlled, and the way he gets himself into games, obviously he's kicking, he leads kick chase, gets himself into tackles. So I don't think he has, and I wouldn't even say, would you say Tommy's in a form, not slump, but it's a dip from last year, 100%, yeah?
In the first 2 games, he's
relying on other people to get him the ball.
Well, he didn't do that against the Bulldogs. And I know the conditions suited as well. He really got against the Bulldogs. He got himself in there for some early carries, and he's going to have to do that because that's the thing. When you talk about Nath and Tommy, the biggest things...
Different positions.
Yeah, different positions from last year. Nath will get himself into games in a different way. When everything's flowing for Tommy, like with some of those carries, he's a little bit more reliant on Manly at least to do a few more things to get him into the game, whereas Nath can affect the game without even having a fucking chucking on 2 tries or score, assisting 2 tries. He just controls the game with Yowie.
Makes them even better.
You know when Jerome's having those games, having a day out, and Nath, you don't really hear Nath's name too much, but the Panthers are 130-6, and Jerome Luai's had 2 try assists, scored a try himself, or Matty Burton's gone over last year. Those sorts of games, that's where Nath can have an effect, a little bit more than what Tommy can at the moment. But I thought Tommy physically got himself into the battle last week, and it's good signs for Manly.
Best thing about Nath too, you go up in 6s instead of 4s as well, so
yeah,
you can obviously kick goals as well. All right, guys, before we jump into the next lot of games, Earn You. Earn You is a fun way to combine the world of cryptocurrency and gambling. Pick your tips for the weekend by joining a round and have a chance to win some extra real money. So the best part about Earn You is once you transfer your AUD to BetU tokens and you put your tips on, you don't actually lose, but you have the chance to win as well. Gambling isn't always about making money, but it's about letting people know your sports knowledge is elite.
Did you find out about Jaden Campbell or Lukey?
We've attached a link below. So the first 200 people to sign up get 100 points and for free using the code 100YKTR. So use that code 100YKTR. First 200 people that sign up get 100 points for free. We'll put the link down below as well. So sign up to earn you. Let's start punting. We'll be doing the PB&J show after this, and we'll put our tips through there as well. So look forward to doing that. All right, where we at? Broncos, Warriors versus the Bronx. Warriors performance last week. Obviously, you weren't too impressive before. Obviously, they're very their tries are mostly off kicks, and I just feel like they're waiting for Sean Johnson to come back. Do you get that vibe as well?
That's all right. I said Warriors are still so erratic, and they need SJ back badly. If this team's going to do anything, I think. Oh, is he? Shawnee? Oh, there we go.
So Sean has been named on the.
Grouse. I think he's probably still a week away. It might be the old Nathan Cleary fucking bluff of last week. But if he comes back, that's massive. Big call there, Lukey.
I don't think you can really rush back a kind of a pick. It's not one of those ones where you can strap up and sort of get... you could strap it up because you do your pec when you snap it back like that. I've snapped my pec before, bro. It fucking hurts.
Fuck, you've had some of the worst injuries, eh?
Fucking soft cunt.
So they just looked. The Warriors are just so erratic. At the end of that game, even though they had 12 men, and it was a big effort to get through. Considering Tigers were giving it to them, they were in position. I was like watching Nathan Brown up in the box and Madge. That was probably more entertaining than what the fucking game was at the time. But there are so much more positives out of the Warriors when you look at their roster and then you look at their individuals than are for the Tigers. So they come up against a Broncos team that got a bit of a reality check. I thought the game was there to be had for the Broncos
We
as well.
thought they were going to roll up Suncorp Stadium Sunday, Reynolds' first home game.
I think most people did, yeah. And I think maybe the Broncos did, but Cowboys come with a pretty good game plan, which we'll get to with the Cowboys again.
What do you think of the Broncos' performance last week? Obviously,
the game was in the balance. Katoni goes through on that right edge. I think it was just after halftime or just before, and he throws that forward pass to Wren. They were down 8-6 at the time, and then after that, the Cowboys they stuck to the game plan. They stuck to it. There's a clear same as I was talking highly about Fitzy. I think Todd Payton's really starting to find himself at the Cowboys, and they're starting to understand his message as well. But on the Broncos, they just got. It was a really good game. It was a really entertaining game in the first half. Like, it was in the balance. Like, the scoreline doesn't indicate how close it could have been. I think once they got blown out, a few of the players started looking around and, couldn't find answers. Are we back to the Broncos of old? But
that's what it would have felt like when you're on the field, eh?
Yeah. So I think they'll learn from it as well. I'm not too low on the Broncos. I think this will be a pretty good game because it's one of those tricky ones. The Broncos should be thinking like they should win, but
I think so too.
If Shawnee comes back and plays, I reckon he'll be a massive in. So
I reckon Broncos sort of bounce back after that performance there. I think they got a bit more of a ceiling than the Warriors have right now, unless SJ comes back and him and Reece Walsh put on a clinic. But I don't think you'll see Adam Reynolds play like that again. The couple uncharacteristic mistakes, especially off the boot, when he's got one of the best boots in the game. I don't think you'll see that happen again. Obviously, he's a professional, he's a vet, so he'll be stewing on that this whole week. So he'll be locking into his training, he'll be doing everything right, and I think they rock up and get it done. I don't think they smack him or anything, but I think they get it done, the Bronx.
Yeah.
All right, Sea Eagles versus the Raiders, your boys.
Yep.
The Bird Gang, the Bullies, go up against the Bulldogs last week. Still struggled. Obviously, the clutchness of DCE. He is the man. He's the guy you want to be in that position. What do you think of the Seagulls' performance last week?
Yeah, DCE, repeat offender, loves that shit. It's hard to take a form line out of that game.
Too wet?
It was too wet. There's not much like that. You're not going to get conditions like that. Actually, who knows? Fucking how much rain we've got lately. But Tommy was the thing that stood out the most. Just Tommy, the way he wanted to insert himself into the game. Like I said, instead of waiting for it, I know he's done it in the first couple of games, but I felt like when he ran the ball this time, he was running to run through the line. Whereas like it was in the first couple of rounds, you could see he was looking around. It was a bit of frustration, like he was getting the ball and people were on him straight away.
Yeah.
And he's obviously going to have to deal with that now. He's got that target on his head. He played so well last year. Teams, if you've watched the better teams play against Manly, you take Tommy out of the game, there's a good chance you beat Manly. So he's got to start getting used to, he's again, as good as he is, he's got to take his game to another level. Chezzy and Foz got to be better. They're making their outside backs aren't giving him much to start the year. Canberra have done pretty well against them in the last couple of years as well. So this ain't going to be easy for the Bird Gang. I think they just need, I don't know. I always a little bit depressed when I talk about Manly lately.
It makes me happy.
It's because I want to, obviously,
Hey, a couple positives. The new stadium looks cool. And,
it does.
And the grass.
It does.
Bro, it looks cool. I was like, is that Brookie?
Yeah, it's improved heaps. I've seen did you see Freddie's thing on Channel 9 on the footy show in the morning? Fuck, he is giggle. He loves his grass.
Yeah.
He loves his grass, Freddie. So, they've apparently, Desi, the mastermind, apparently he had a say in the way that the field's developed too, because Freddie was asking the groundskeeper, and apparently because more often than not, I think they like going down the right edge, Sabi's side and Chez's side a little more, so there's a little bit of a slant.
Oh, for the 40-20s.
Yeah. So Chezza kicks down that edge as well.
So Newcastle back in the day, their field used to be arced up like that, and this is when we were playing as well. So they used to say that about Joey. He used to love a 40-20 because when it hit the ground, he used to just bounce straight out.
Kick it out.
Yeah, he had a big beat too, around the corner one. Raiders, obviously, big comeback win. Man, those types of wins are fun to be a part of as well, and they can roll you into your performance next week. What were your thoughts on the Raiders?
Yeah, it gives you a lot of belief within the squad. Chansey, again, I'm always interested to see, especially with games that... one thing I've been watching this year is just like the chat a little bit more, because you get an indication of what the players are thinking, what they're feeling after that loss. Chansey was saying after the game that he probably, last year they don't win that game. Obviously, it's a massive scoreline to come back from and a massive effort, but take a lot of belief. Matty Tomoko,
how tough is he?
Holy, and then
is he sweet?
I wrote down the right edge of the Raiders. Tommy Turbo, Fozzie. Brad Parker, they've had some success coming down the left edge. They're going to come down and they're going to come down at a high click. So Raiders better be wary of that. Brad Snyder, he's a young up and coming half.
Hey, good on him, man. Come through. Yeah, clutch kick.
Velame and Geordie Rapps on that side. They leaked a couple. In the first half. So I think Manly will come there early and often. And it's going to be big. Andrew Davey comes in the starting line for Fozzie. Just a guy who's going to run a nice hard line. Turbo at the back. Don't overcomplicate it, Manly. Attack that edge, because on the other side, Matty Tomoko, Kotrick, they're doing a good job. Jackie Whiten is going to hurt people. I reckon you lay the line on the right edge over there, inside Jackie Whiten, not at Jack Whiten, because he's not
at Jack Whiten.
You don't lay the line on Jackie Whiten, but even if you get from a 50 or just outside the post and then come down that left edge, I think that's what Manly will be looking to come.
Your last dollar, where you going?
Manly, baby! 13 plus!
That is the fucking biggest bluff I've ever heard you say. I think the Raiders get up in this one, but I do think it's going to be a good game. Both teams would have got confidence. Manly would just be happy to get their first win and a scrappy win, and they don't mind being scrappy, the Bird Gang. I think the Raiders coming back after that, they're starting to get excited about this season, I reckon. They're starting to look around. We've got some troops here. We've got some tough guys. We've got some young dudes. We've got a great 5'8". I think they're going to be really good, bro. So it should be a good game.
Last year, the Bird Gang, when they had that 4 games slide, just before Tommy come back, they had an ugly win against the Warriors where Ches kicked the field goal to win the game as well.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Very reminiscent of the Bulldogs game. Maybe this is just like that little thing that they needed to kick him in. All right, we know how to win. Jakey looked like he was relieved. Tommy looked like he was relieved. All right, let's see what the boys are capable of. Come on, boys.
You're clutching at straws there,
Come on, boys.
You're hoping for anything there. All right, guys, before we do continue, this podcast is also brought to you by Manscaped. Thank you for your continued support. If you guys do want to cop a Lawnmower 4.0, use my code ICE or Scopes code SCOPE. They are sponsoring us for the next 3 months as well. So if you're a fan of 10 of the Ken, YKTR Sports, you want to look after the pubes and they're not looking like Willie Mason back in 2002, start looking after him as well. So trim the pubes up.
Did that happen?
Put some Steady Freddy on.
Did that happen organically? Did you just think of that on the spot? Did you prepare for that? Is that in the notes?
No, he tagged us in a Instagram story the other day. And I was like, fuck, what's Big Mace been up
Mace.
to?
I love Mace.
And then I seen an old photo of Dogs of War.
Yeah, that was a sick photo. That was after Sonny's fight, I think.
Are they the coolest team ever?
I hated that Bulldogs team, bro. And I told the boys, like, we obviously, when they all come across to
because you're a hater, bro.
No, because I was a Roosters fan. 2004, that was the team that fucking beat the Roosters in the grand final when I was a kid. I was at
that game.
I was Freddie
You were at that game too, eh, Lukey?
Oh, were you, Lukey?
Yeah.
Yeah. Freddie Fittler's from Cambridge Park. So I was like, when I was coming through and then Dad had finished playing footy, I was a heavy Roosters fan. Now I hate them.
When was the last time you had like a full set of pubes just hanging about? Young?
A couple of weeks ago, actually. Manscaped.
Shout out Manscaped. User code ICE or Scopes code SCOPE for 20% off, free shipping, all that good stuff. Shout out Manscaped for looking after the boys. Cowboys versus Roosters. Fuck, this game is going to stress me out. Cowboys performance last week, I thought they were awesome. Hey, Siri, play Welcome Back to fucking Valentine Holmes.
Oh, I just got smoked playing Siri.
Oh, is it playing?
Yeah.
We should just link that up straight away. Eh? I thought Valentine Holmes was elite. Man, I've been critical of Toddy Payton in the past. I didn't feel like he could. I'm not saying he can't coach, but I feel like he lost the locker room. I feel like he's slowly starting to pull it back, and he's got his main guy on board, Tomalolo. Valentine Holmes rocks up. All their halves are playing well. I thought Chatty Townsend ran the game really well. Tommy Denham was elite as well.
Yep.
Jeremiah Nanai. Holy shit.
He's legit.
He's legit. He's legit. He's a superstar.
I've seen those little sparks like last couple of weeks, and I'm like, because he plays next to Pet too, so I watch him closely because I love watching Pet play and how he can come into the games, man. Jeremiah Nanai, bro.
Jeremiah, yeah. Is that how I say it? Sorry for saying the name. Kiwi?
No, yeah, but I think it's just, I started following him on Instagram the other day. You know when players start killing.
Hey, bro, big fan.
Hey, bro, what's happening?
And you know,
didn't get the follow back though, so it'll come. It'll come.
Do you know what I like about him, bro? He balances out Chad Townsend.
Yeah.
And Petter does as well, where Chad's very straight up and down. Awesome for what the Cowboys need right now.
Perfect.
And then he's that sort of X factor, that Joshy Schuster style.
Yep.
Like, just elite. What was your thoughts on Cowboys?
A lot to like. And you know what I love doing this show? This is a part of like doing content that I love because we watch content, whether it be here or over in the States. I don't love it. I don't love being wrong, but I love admitting where, you know, I think I was wrong. There were times that I got long. So Knights are a perfect example early on. I thought they were going to struggle in their halves. The halves have been unreal. Clifford Clune, so happy for him. It's like when we talk about these parts of the show, it's not like we want to talk down players. You know, if I'm wrong about the Tigers in about 2 or 3 weeks, I'll be happy because I want to see players do well. I was the same as you. Todd Payton last year thought it was a bad decision not to be playing Tomalolo the way he is. He's starting to win me over because Tomalolo is playing obviously really good footy. It's poked him a little bit. He's not playing the 80 minutes like he used to and having the fucking crazy stats games that he used to. But I think it's at the benefit of the Cowboys team and it's bringing out the best of them and it's bringing out the best in a fucking young up-and-coming pack. I love the way, and again, people talking after the games, I love the way Todd Payton talks. He knows who he is, not only as a coach, he knows what direction he wants at the Cowboys. He knows what players he wants at the moment. I know you can see that he knows that he can improve his roster, but he's also loving the fact that he's talking very highly about Jeremiah Nanai last week. He wants to take care of the guys that he knows are going to be the future for him, and he's trying to instill that. Like he's trying to instill a culture up there in the Cowboys. Because you think about it, the Cowboys come out of one of the best runs of all time. Matty Bowen, Jonathan Thurston, Matt Scott, Jimmy Tarmo, Jace Tomalolo was coming through, Michael Morgan. They were in a rebuild, man, and Toddy Payton's doing a great job of fucking bringing it back, starting from scratch. We always talk about these rebuilds, whether it be in NRL, like we watch it in NBA, NFL. Toddy Payton's doing a great job. So I love seeing that. I love being wrong on the odd occasion when it comes to things like this. And coming at the Roosters, man, where the Cowboys are playing. Straight off the bat, I'm going the Cowboys in this game. And where the Roosters are vulnerable, where I seen them vulnerable leading the South game, which South's exposed, and that right edge, they're going to be coming at Walker and Tupanua again. So be ready for that, the Roosters. The Roosters still finding themselves. Finding themselves. I think they were sort of blown off the field early by Cam Murray was coming direct and early and directed them in that game. And yeah, Roosters a little bit off the mark, still trying to find themselves. I think the edges are a serious concern for me. They're not the defensive. Boydie Cordner, man. Boydie Cordner on the left edge he plugs a lot of holes. So if you've got a guy, I wouldn't be surprised if we see Mudders Hutchinson start and then they start to bring Sam Walker. You know, we know players at every team. This is like I haven't fucking spoke to anyone, but I can just see Robbo. You know how Robbo was starting Hutchinson over Connor Watson to bring him into the game. I can see them bringing Sammy off the bench. If this doesn't work, if not this week, and Cowboys can somehow pull off this win, I can potentially see where they maybe move Hutchinson to start their games, take a bit of juice out of it, and then put Sammy Walker on just before halftime to finish the games. bit of a closer like he was at the back end of last season.
Yeah, it sort of looked like they were a little bit. You know, when you're younger, and you're like, "Fuck, where's our best players? Let's just give them the ball." And there was like Joey Manu, and he was doing his thing.
Yeah.
Elite centre play, scored a
Joey
try,
was
set
unreal.
him up. Tedesco was there as well. But just the whole game, when I watched it back, it just didn't flow. It just didn't look like. The week before, we're like, this looks like the Roosters. And
Told you it's a bad form line. That fucking Manly were awful. Like when I was
playing a shitty Manly side.
Yeah, you got too high on it because when I looked at that game, I was like, Rabbitohs were good against come good at the back end of that game against a good Storm team. And I was like watching that Roosters game and I was going, Manly are just fucking awful in this game. Like at this point of the year. So yeah, we'll see. This is a good one, man. Like imagine at the start of the year when we're talking about Cowboys versus Roosters. Hey, we've been thinking like 50, don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Now fuck. I'm going Cowboys. I think they can beat them.
I think this is one of the most exciting NRL seasons we've had in a minute.
Yeah,
like,
it's been good.
Like, there's no really blowouts and stuff anymore. And like you said, the Cowboys versus Roosters. If we highlighted this game in round one, we were like, bro, I'm not even watching that.
Well, with the first game, right, we'll say down on the Tigers. But if Tigers beat Titans, would you be surprised?
No way.
As bad as they're playing in the way that the comp's flowing this year. So
no way. All right, next game, Storm versus Bulldogs. Storm performance last week. Thought, yeah, they had their chances to win. Obviously, I thought Pappy's about to snap that. Didn't get it done. But I still really like some of the Storm performances. And
yeah, they played well.
They just don't have that aura about them right now. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah, that's true. I think that's true. Our boy Cheese, fucking hell. Like coming back after that with a pin in his hand, he was tough as fuck. Our boy Munster, our boy the Prez, he's well and truly back to his best, where he wants to be playing. Harry's a big in for him this week. They got Xavier Coates comes back on the wing. He's a mismatch nightmare on when he'll flow back onto their left edge, plays outside Olam, but he can also play on the right, so that'll be interesting to see because I think they need to fix up that right edge.
I think he goes right and Uremia. Oh, what did they play last time when he scored
Meany come off the bench and played wing. I reckon there'll be a decision between Meany and Uremia, but I'd flick Coates back over to the right edge.
That bounce ball, that pass and Munster just picks up and looks and just goes bang.
Yeah.
Bro, not many players could do that. I reckon maybe Nathan Cleary could do that.
Yeah.
That's about it.
When I spoke to Prez too, I was just asking him about Parra. I was like, man, what's it about Parra? 3 from 3 against you? And he just couldn't speak highly enough about Gutho. He goes, Melbourne are one of the best teams at playing to a game plan or playing to a structure and stripping teams down. He goes, man, Gutho's just always there, which is like a mad rap to Gutho. Munster, one of the best players in the game, recognising how important. I think, sometimes even Parra fans don't realise how good Gutho is. He goes like, even when Cheese made that break and Gutho comes up, and normally fullbacks hold back, but Gutho's just so fit and just always pressuring him. Like when he come at him, he like forces Prez, like Pappy still scores, but like it should have been like in Prez's head, Cheese drawing past and he goes over. He's walking over, but just that little extra pressure that other fullbacks don't do through Gutho's fitness. So that's a massive wrap for Gutho. And but yeah, they seem to have the wood on them at the moment. They come with a clear game plan. BA's come from that nursery. I'm going to speak to Dill Brown about it as well. So yeah,
doggies. I'll watch your attack, and I always watch your attack, and we've talked about this a number of times. It's just so slow, eh?
Yeah, the rudderless. I wrote down the rudderless. They still don't have their 7. Brendan Wakeham was
done a job,
slight
scored
improvement.
a try.
Yeah, scored a try early, but when it gets down to the nitty gritty and games need to be won, you put them in a position like, for instance, when you're looking at that game, Matty Burton can bomb him and he can kick a field goal, but like having that other option, like when it got down to the back 10 minutes, for me, like as bad as Manly played in the first, I just knew Ches was going to be the guy and kick the.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
And as well as Matty Burton's capable of it, but I just don't think when they got down, I was like, Matty Burton most likely kick it if you get him in position, but I don't know 100%. And I definitely know Wakeham's not going to do it, and that's respectfully like because I haven't seen it. Like there's not those runs on the board, and then there's not that belief within the team as well. So the Bulldogs will feel that as well.
A lot of the big part about being clutch in those moments is actually how to set up the droppy.
Yeah.
And I think that's what DCE sort of really nailed. And obviously he's seen Tommy take off and do the quick play of the ball. He said he used to use Marty back in the day as well. Setting it up as well and having the confidence to hit it. Yeah, I don't know. I know Matty Burton's wonderfully talented and got a massive bird. I don't know if he'd have the confidence right now to step up and hit that.
He's
definitely capable.
We finish every session. We finish off with a drop goal. That's our last session of Captain's Run when we do unopposed to the last play of all of us together as a team.
Have to hit it?
Ches No, not have to hit it, but Ches hits it fucking 9 times out of 10, and he hits it 9 times out of 10 in the game. And sometimes he'll even fuck around and just like fake right, kick left.
He does that in games
And
too.
from like 30 out, and he like, so when it comes down, practice makes perfect. Like when it comes to games, Ches nails those.
Do you reckon he'll start texting us back, Ches?
Well,
Whenever, like we're close with DCE, so whenever they start losing, you won't hear from them for a while. Eh?
yeah, well, except for when it's a bit of golf. And we're going to get a bit of golf in as well. So he's keen for a bit of golf. So hopefully we can get that game going next week, weather permitted.
Storm versus Bulldogs prediction, where we at?
I can see a big score incoming, a big Storm. You don't want to play the Storm after a loss. And I just don't think, I don't see too much from, like I can't see how Storm, Bulldogs go down there and do anything, get close to Storm. Like not crazy, like fucking 20 or 30, but I just think Storm do it quite comfortably and win this game.
Here's a question for you. Do you think Doggies just need to jag that little win like the Cowboys have got? Like, you know how they beat the Raiders last week? No one really expected them. Now they've sort of jagged 2 in a row, potentially could go 3 in a row. Do they just
they jagged the first game against the Cowboys when they shouldn't have won. Cowboys gave them that game. That was one of those lose games. That team was going to lose it, right? Same sort of thing. But the Cowboys that kicked on from that game, the same thing. I didn't think the game against the Broncos was all that bad. I think they were in that for a long time as well. So if Bulldogs could have been 2 from 3, but I think the Storm's a different beast off the back of a loss and off the back of Harry and Cheese combination. When Harry and Cheese together, man, you think about it like we haven't seen much. I don't think have we seen it this year for an extended period of time?
No,
I feel like Cheese got injured straight away. Yeah.
No, because Harry wasn't.
And Harry didn't
playing.
even play in that game. Yeah, so
And Cheese has been named on the bench as well. King's still named to start as well. So I like that sort of rotation.
The Cheese, Harry 1-2 punch, whether they start at lock together or start at hooker, that's a different beast.
And then you go Money, Jerome, Pappy, scary.
Yeah.
All right, last game of the round, Eels versus Dragon. I was kind of really impressed with that. I think Eels potentially lose those games sometimes.
Yeah.
You got to win ugly, and I know they got the wood over, but they got it done. And salutes to Ray Stone. That was the best.
Bittersweet.
Oh, obviously.
I love Ray Stone, man.
He copped criticism last week because he was the one who done the cannonball tackle on the leg. They kicked out. Matty Moreland sets up the try. Nico Hines, he copped a massive spray for that. Comes back, scores 2 tries in the last 10 minutes.
Love that
and
shit.
just that effort. Those effort plays are important. Done his ACL, so speedy recovery. His last game at the Eels will be off to Redcliffe next year. But shout out Ray Stone, man. That's a salute to you.
Yeah, for sure. So many good performances across the board in this game. It's really hard to just even highlight. I thought everyone was really impressive. I've talked about how impressed Munster was with Gutho. Dill Brown, man.
I know we interviewed him earlier, but
that's what I want. Sorry. I wanted to say last year, it reminds me when Rodgers cops criticism in the NFL, my favourite quarterback, Aaron Rodgers, he goes, when people talk about his down years, he goes, those are up years for some players. And Munster and Brown had that last year where they had, probably to their standards, they would have even probably agree that they had down years, but their down years are still fucking 10 times better than half the competition or half the best halves or 6 or even players in the game. But they've both come back with a chip on their shoulder this year, and you can see it. When I seen Dill at the Indigenous game, we had a bit of a cuddle with fucking watching our boy Whittamoo Greg, who unfortunately didn't get on the game again on the weekend. But I felt Dill, man.
Strong, eh?
Oh, bro, he's rock hard. Like, we had a bit of a, we seen each other up in Byron the year before. And same sort of thing. Like, you tell he's a big dude. He's rock hard fit, man. He's in good nick. And you can see in his footy, the footy that he's playing, that he's got that left edge humming. Mitch, the best thing about it, Mitchy Moses is not even having to play that great for him at the moment. If he develops into, if he can put that aside and play like a bit like Nath, where he doesn't have to be the star to win a game.
I think
they're tricky, man. Parramatta Eels are tricky.
I agree with you because I think if we look at their spine collectively, I think Reed's always on. I think Gutho's always on.
Reed's unreal, man.
And a lot of the time they look at Mitch Moses for their point of attack. And then this game of Dylan Brown, I was looking like, I'd rather have the ball in Dylan Brown's hands right now, but still have Mitch Moses kicking to the corners, converting goals. He's got a great kicking game. He's got a great running game. Maybe it's like...
That side's defending really well now on the right edge as well.
You don't put all the pressure on Mitch Moses anymore. You put it on... You start to shift some of that over to Dylan Brown, and I think that's Like, that was the best game I've seen him play. Obviously, going up against a really good Melbourne side.
Yeah.
Setting up tries off the long ball as well. There was a silky pass, bro, straight on his chest. And taking on, like, Jerome Hughes, running past them and setting up a try.
Yeah.
So
Hughesy and Kafusi, man. Like, there's big names.
Big names,
Big
bro.
names straight through.
Internationals, rep players.
Fucking drawing past Gutho, just, like, sort of fades out. Even when he does shit, like, that's mad. He's just, like, still fucking cool as fuck.
Yeah, so Dill Brown, shout out him. Looking forward to him backing up that this week.
Hey, Wonga Blake, he's been fucking in the past. I've been critical of his game as well. He's been rocks and diamonds. He's been unreal for Parramatta to start the year.
Yeah, he was shaking the back end of the game under the high ball though.
Yeah, that's what he's still got to develop because he's a centre, right? He's filling in on the spot. They've had a few injuries.
I think he's a winger.
They've had a few. Well, he's carrying the ball well for him out of yardage and gets all that sort of right. Yeah, the high ball's got to come, but yeah. A lot because we follow accounts. A lot of the Para fans have been hard on Wonka Blake in the
Para fans are ruthless.
Past. Yeah, they're ruthless. Like it, but a lot of fans are ruthless. Like Bulldog, you go through Bulldogs, they'll hammer the odd player. Dragons, we're looking at the Dragons, right? So start talking about the Dragons. I think Dragons will be right for this one.
Yeah, Dragons, obviously just got straight up outplayed. They couldn't find a way to get into... I thought Benny Hunt...
He's unreal, man.
Bro, Benny Hunt is such a good player. He was everywhere. All their attacks sort of flowed off him as well. Probably needed a little bit of help from his young guys, a lot like the Titans. When you get in circumstances or parts of the games where you're under the pump, you got to find ways to get yourself into the games. I thought Benny Hunt was elite that game.
Yeah, I think I read down when I was watching the games, Dragons have killed themselves 2 games in a row. So Jaden Sewell's been 2 weeks in a row unfairly sent off for 10, but it's like they've got a target on him. Refs, for whatever reason, I didn't think either the week before against O'Sullivan or the hit on Finucane deserved to be sent for 10 in the bin, but they have been, and then during that period they've leaked points. 10, 8 points against the Panthers. I believe it was 2 tries against the Sharks. They've got to be better. They've got to be resilient because I've got a lot of belief in the Dragons, and there's when I look at their team and you look at guys like Zachy Lomax is slowly becoming back. Like he's an elite centre. He just needs to. They just need to be in the game a little bit more. But they kill themselves at the moment with some of the Dragons, and whether it be penalties or players getting sent off. But there's still plenty there, and this will be a tricky game. This will be another one of those games. This is why the NRL is so entertaining this year because. You've got to be playing your best footy every week.
100%, yeah. I think Sloan was put under a lot of pressure, and obviously we're big fans of Tyrell Sloan, but just that wet style of footy, and he just couldn't really find ways to come into the game and just sort of get around Benny Hunt as well. So they ended up switching him and what's his name? What's the winger's name?
Cody
Ramsey around for a little bit, and that didn't work either. You just got to keep Tyrell Sloan there. Obviously, sometimes they're going to get caught sometimes, and that's just part of the learning curve as well.
Yeah, Cody Ramsey comes out. Matthew Faig comes in, one of the twins there. So whether that's designed or through injury, I think
Aaron Wood's back.
He'll bring a bit of punch. Yeah, Woodsy comes on. He's solid for him.
Jack Dejetsky. He's got a little try. Yeah, he was good.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that is a wrap on the show, guys. Make sure you please like, please comment, please subscribe. Me and Scope are back pretty soon, about to do PB&J and give you some more shit tips. So,
Rent Shoe, baby. Still some merch available, eh?
Yeah, merch available online. YKTR, we'll drop you merch tomorrow too as well. So get around the boys. Thanks for our sponsors. Thanks you guys for watching and appreciate you guys. Later.